Now, the biggest thing with soft shell, okay, that people, they learn very quickly when pressing soft shell, and it's often a hard lesson to learn, is the dye that is used on soft shell jackets or in soft shell jackets. My understanding, it's a dispersed dye. It easily migrates through transfers, okay? Now, what I mean by that is if I took a transfer with white in it, okay, what will happen is the black dye from this will come through and start discoloring the back of the transfer, okay? And all of our transfers typically have a white backing to them. It's what makes them nice and bright. It's what allows them to go onto any coloured garment and look the same. But this white backing, if it changes colour, so does the colour on the front, okay? Now, going on to this black soft shell, if I just press this transfer right here, what you would find is not immediately, soft shell jackets or soft shell fabric doesn't discolour straight away. It happens over time. It happens over weeks into months. And it actually comes through the transfer looking a bit like mould. That's what you'll think it is. You'll be looking at a garment a couple of months after it's been pressed going, it's got mould coming through. It comes through as dots, tiny little black dots, and then those black dots will start to grow and expand, and they'll expand to a point where all of the dots actually start touching. It just becomes a solid color. But unlike other fabrics like polyester, when it migrates through, or sublimation fabric, when that migrates through, the whole area will start discoloring, and it discolors quite evenly. Soft shell comes through as dots, so you'll have a perfectly white bit of transfer, but then you'll have these black dots start showing that'll start to grow, okay? Now, how do we stop it, okay? Because that's really important, because these are not cheap jackets. They're worth good value, these jackets. People want to have them for a long time. How do we stop that? Well, first off is we can't be pressing a transfer onto a soft shell jacket that doesn't have a blocker. Okay, that's the number one thing. A normal, typical, everyday transfer won't go into a soft shell and give you the guarantee that it won't dye migrate through, okay? Now, our UltraColour Max is our DTF transfer, so I'm not gonna recommend our DTF transfers UltraColour Max for a soft shell jacket. What I would recommend is our UltraColour Pro. Now, UltraColour Pro, the reason I'm recommending that is it's a screen printed transfer, but also not just UltraColour Pro by itself, but soft shell blocker. And what it looks like is this side here has a soft shell blocker on it, this side doesn't. And what you can see on this side is, see how we've got a black backing? We put an extra layer of black carbon-based ink. Okay, it's a really fine grade of carbon-based ink. It's our strongest of all blockers that we have, and that there guarantees stopping the dye coming from your soft shell fabric and discoloring the transfer. Now guys, you can get this as a sample if you want. If you are wanting to test some soft shell garments and test and see that, you absolutely can. This transfer here will give you a perfect press if you've got a bit of excess fabric of soft shell or anything like that, or an old one to test on, and you'll be able to see that the side with the blocker will absolutely stop the dye migration. The side with no blocker will eventually start to turn black. Guys, that is the number one thing that we need to worry about. The actual fabric itself presses really, really well. It absorbs the glue really well, washes really well, the transferred lasts, that sort of thing. So we don't have any issues with that. It's not an overly thick fabric, but it's got that fleeciness to it, so it holds the temperature and the heat quite well.